Hey everyone, you have reached Author Mama Reads, where you will get all of my very first impressions of the books I read. Today's book is The Sea Before Us by Sarah Sundin. Okay, this book starts with a prologue, and I like prologues, so I'm excited for that. And I'm going to make a guess. Okay, after one page, I'm going to guess that I'm going to like it so-so. That I'm going to read it without skimming. But I don't know if I'll want to read another one. It's just my guess. So she writes well. I mean, there's no sentences that weren't sentences.
Just so you know, she's an author, and this wasn't a book that she wrote. It's just a book that she has. That's what she means by her book. Okay? Okay, fans.
I just read the prologue, and then I was like, it totally took me off guard. So I may like it more than I thought I'd like it, because the author surprised me in the very first chapter. I seriously did not expect what happened to happen. It freaked me out. I was like, no, what? I had enough ration coupons for sausage and your favorite Fortnum and Mason's marmalade. If you don't eat your breakfast, I shall feed it to Charlie with no regret or shame. Who says that? I would just say, I got your favorite donuts. I got your favorite brand of chicken ramen
It's
noodles.
Murachan.
I would not say I got your favorite brand of Murachan.
I picked my nose this
Murachan ramen noodles. Chicken. What? Am I allowed to show that?
Oh, they can't see.
I would just say I got your favorite ramen noodles. I got your favorite peanut butter. This is one of those things, like when you write a historical novel, that people think that you want to hear every, like, nuance of the time. And I shouldn't say people, me. When I read a fictional novel, I don't... What was that? I don't need to know every brand name. If it's not normal in normal conversation to say the brand name for some particular reason, like, hey, I'm going to the store. Would you like Fortnum and Mason's marmalade, or would you like the Great Value brand? And even then, unless it pertained to the story, where the Great Value brand somehow saved them from choking because it was less thick than the other brand, then I don't really see how we need to know. Just saying. So I'm already annoyed. I'm just annoyed right away. That's just me. But I'm sure I'll like this story. I'm sure I will. I'm so picky. I am 8 chapters in. Chapter 9 coming up. I think I judged it too soon. I love it. I really do. Great detail, not too much detail. Occasionally, she gives the reader a little bit of information inside the dialogue, where I would prefer it in the narrative, because it just makes the dialogue sound just not quite realistic. But it's rare, and so she hasn't kept up with that too much, so I was afraid it would continue. Overall, I'm really liking the characters. I'm actually really drawn into the characters. Some things still surprise me, like a couple chapters in, I'll find out he has a Texas drawl, and maybe she mentioned he was from Texas in the beginning, but I never pictured it, and for some reason I didn't realize she was British. Like, I did kind of at the beginning, but not soon enough, and so I've just been a little slow. But overall, I really, really like it. So, on to 9. So far, she hasn't had any chapters that are just fluff, where they don't move the plot along. So, every chapter moves the plot along. Even if it's not huge steps, it has something to do with their personality, or it has something to do with their relationship to one another. So, I really enjoy that, because fluffy chapters with no purpose drive me crazy, and that's when I start skimming. So no, this is great. Stayed up till 1:30 last night. and only went to bed because the dog woke up my husband on the floor in the kids' room. So, halfway through chapter 16, going for a hike with the family Sunday afternoon, and it's at least a half an hour drive. So, gotta go, gotta keep reading. What?
I didn't know you were recording.
Reading in the car was a mistake because I got car sick, but it's the second night reading and I'm on chapter 22. Halfway through. Chapter 25 is the first chapter that I've skimmed, just the first 2 pages. The detail that she gives is really, really good. You can tell she's researched a lot of the military things, and if she wrote anything less, it would sound like she didn't know what she was talking about. So I completely appreciate it, but since it's Greek to me, I'm still gonna skip it. So I skimmed to the last sentence of the second page of chapter 25. But first time, 25 chapters, not bad. I finished this last night at 1 in the morning. So good, so good. So now my choice is to get the second one or read one of the other 2 books that I got from the library. So, it's a hard decision. Right now I have to do this. All that. So, getting started, I've never read Sarah Sundin before. This is my first time with this author. She publishes with Revel. The Sea Before Us is part of a trilogy. The second one being The Sky Above Us, the third one being The Land Beneath Us. And this follows a guy named Wyatt, and he has 2 brothers that he's estranged from. And so this is kind of a neat trilogy. So they follow Wyatt. He is in the Navy. And then the next book, The Sky Above Us, he's a pilot. And so then it follows, I think, the same exact time period, bringing them to like this final battle that happened. The third one is The Land Beneath Us, and the third brother was infantry. It's World War II, and it is really interesting. You can tell she does so much research, so much research. You can find Sarah Sundin pretty easily on the internet. She's on sarahsundin.com. She's got a Facebook page, an Instagram page. On YouTube, she's kind of varied. So she does have some interviews talking about her research, which is really interesting. And she does put quite a bit of effort into that and really enjoys it. She had a video cafe, like she was sitting in her backyard or something, and she read a scripture and then just kind of chatted about it for a minute and kind of updated you on what was going on with her family. And then I saw another one where she was making Boston cream pie, but no other recipe videos. So I'm assuming that the Boston cream pie had to do with one of her series, and I don't know, and then she just kind of did it alone, but maybe they just didn't come up, but that's all I saw. And then she had a fun cover reveal. This is the Sunrise at Normandy series. I saw something that looked like this one received an award, but I actually have a difficult time finding which books get awards, because if it's not on the book, if they don't put the seal on the book, it's confusing, because it'll say Sarah Sundin, award-winning author, but it won't say what award it was. And if it does, my computer's just not cooperating. So, that's long-winded. Anyway, to get straight to the prologue, you saw what I thought of the prologue. It kind of made me laugh. I kind of made fun of it a little bit, sorry. But I was a little bit jaded because the book I read before really let me down. I was really excited about it, and I think I've read a couple duds in a row, ones that I just really did not enjoy. And so when I started seeing some descriptors that I thought were kind of silly, I just judged too soon that I would not enjoy the book. But that wasn't the case with this book. I did enjoy it. And this particular book is rated 4.5 stars, with 5 stars being 81%. The biggest thing that I saw for the 1 star and 2 stars was that it was preachy. And I think it caught a lot of people off guard who are not Christians. Like, one person said that they picked it up not knowing it was a Christian book, so I think they just felt kind of blindsided. Okay, it's a little bit preachy, but not too bad. Not enough to bug me. Trite telling of a horrible time. Oh, that's a little harsh. I don't feel like she was trite at all about it. I do have 2 people calling it sexist, saying that Wyatt says that women have to cry to let out their weaknesses so they can remain strong. It says crying is not a weakness, it's human nature. We cry for various reasons, and crying is not solely a womanly or weak thing. Okay, now, just because Wyatt has, I feel it's more accurate because this is back in the 40s, right? World War II. So wasn't there a big sort of women have one role and men have another role back then anyway? And I really don't think he was drawing a distinction between those roles by simply suggesting that a woman needs to cry to let out her weakness. Like, maybe it was a sexist response, but that just means that the character that Sarah Sundin created was true to his time period. So what? Like, that doesn't mean Sarah Sundin thinks that, and what's wrong with that anyway? We all have weaknesses, and sometimes crying lets it out, I guess. Even men cry. So, I don't know, people. We can't all be PC. So, I think it's good storytelling to let your character feel what your character should feel during the time period in which they're written. So, that does not bother me at all. It says the plot is scattered and uneven, the twist is contrived and shallow, the narrative was slow, I almost stopped reading. I wonder what kind of stuff they read, because I'm going to get to some books, I'm going to review some books, and these are slow books. Like, I could not finish them. This was not like that. This was not like that. In fact, I think that this story continually progressed. Every chapter scooted you a little bit forwards. There's some chapters that you're reading and you're like, this is complete fluff. This has nothing to do with the book whatsoever. This has nothing to do with the plot, and it has nothing to do with any of the characters' development, and it's very frustrating. But I felt like each of the scenes moved you a little bit closer to the end of the story. I suppose you could maybe call it a little bit predictable, but some things it's okay to be predictable because you're interested in what's being talked about, and so you want to walk that road with the author to get to the end. If I had any problem with any of the characters, it was the female protagonist. But you have to keep in mind that she was not a Christian character in the beginning. So when she meets Wyatt, even though there's certain attractions at various points in the story, she doesn't want him because he seems to be like her father, or even killed and all those things, and she feels like she would make him sad in the end, and that they would not be a good match. And that didn't bother me so much as the fact that the person that she wanted to be with that was adventurous, she wanted to change herself for, and I've never really heard of someone who is so blatantly open about wanting to change. Like, he doesn't like that, so I have to learn not to be that way. I'm going to be an all-new me. I'm going to make myself exactly like he wants. And she would see this in front of her friends, and also her friends, although they may have seemed to be against it a little bit, no one really spoke overtly out towards it, like not enough. And so it never seemed like it was weird, and they're almost like all for it, like, oh yeah, do it, be the kind of girl he wants. And so that attitude of just wanting to change yourself for someone else, like rework yourself and know that you're being not authentic to another person seems kind of ludicrous. But I think it's only feels that way in my Christian worldview. I'm sure that there's people, even in and out of that, who want to change themselves. Maybe you don't know it. I just feel like if you spoke it out loud, it would seem too ludicrous to like carry on with. That once you spoke it, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's stupid, I should stop. But she didn't. But she had, her own change of heart eventually. But that particular overt character quality in her to start with really kind of bugged me. And so one of the reviews is like, she's too good for Wyatt. I guess. Aren't we all at some point? Either someone's too good for us or we're too good for them. It depends on who you're standing next to. I mean, we all feel that way, so
that it's, I guess, I'm sure they just really didn't like her, kind of the same as I didn't care for that either, but I was able to see past it, so, and it had a really good ending, had a sweet ending, so I would 100% read any of Sarah Sundin's books at this point. Next up will be To Win Her Favor by Tamara Alexander. I am part of a Facebook group called Avid Readers for Christian Fiction, and I've been keeping a list of authors that I've never heard of before or that I haven't gotten around to reading. So this is next. Let's get to it.